Urban Beat. I'm your host, Jerome Graham, and this morning, we are speaking to entrepreneur par excellence. I mean, this young man is flat out making things happen. He's well known in our community. He gives speaking engagements, and people actually turn out in great numbers. And when you sit in his presence, he has information that will help you, but he just doesn't give you the information. He walks you through the situation, and he empowers you, enables you to be able to access the tools necessary, the resources necessary to fulfill your vision. I'm speaking of none other than Rob Pasker. How are you, Rob?
I'm well, Brother Graham. I appreciate that introduction, man. I truly do. It's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate the invite.
Man, it's good to have you. It's good to have you. Look, let's get to it. Rob Pasker Real Estate. That's who you were. What happened, man?
Well, I'm gonna tell you what. It's still Pasker Real Estate. And here's the deal: it's Pasker and Associates Ltd. Limited. That's my company.
Okay.
But my DBA is Pasker Real Estate. I dissolved it in order to elevate the touch and the reach that I have. I merged my business with EXP Realty. Um, in order to scale my business. So, what people have to realize about me, I never got into real estate to sell houses. It was never about selling houses for me. It was more so about building a supply chain in real estate so that I could focus on education and marketing and allow my education and marketing to create opportunities for the people in my organization. And, that was the quest when I had my tea company, Go Matcha Go, was to build my supply chain. But I realized, after selling my tea through 7 different sales channels, online, at coffee shops, at festivals, independent distributors, I realized that if I were to focus on education and marketing, then my product would go much further. It's the same thing in the real estate industry. So quintessentially, I've done that. I have my agents who are on the ground helping people, opening doors for people, helping people buy property and sell property. Um, and I'm at the point where I have established a HUD certified housing counseling agency in Northwest Ohio. NARAB's Investment Division, NID Housing Counseling Agency, based out of the Frederick Douglass Center. So now I'm at the position in the real estate industry where I can focus on educating our community, educating our families, helping them acquire property and also keep their property, and allow and teach my agents how to efficiently and effectively service these families and acquiring and keeping property and selling property. I've created a real estate supply chain. And so for me, yeah, Pastor Real Estate, has been dissolved, but, the platform that EXP provides for me to dissolve my own company through which I created opportunities for myself to join another company means that this company is providing opportunities for my real estate business that I couldn't provide for myself. And so I made that move to do that, not only to elevate myself, but to provide more resources to my agents and the people in my organization, while I focus on what I'm passionate about, which is the education of the community, and then the marketing of what we do here to let more people know how we can help them change their lives.
You got into real estate like early in life, right?
I can't quite say that. I got into entrepreneurship early in my life. My father raised me as an entrepreneur with that mindset, being your own man, being in control of your own destiny. I watched my mother with her business. She's always done decor, event planning, event coordinating, wedding planning, par excel events. But it wasn't until 2007 I started my own business, my first business. I was a freshman in college and more like a sophomore. I'll take that back, sophomore, 2007. And me and a few of my homeboys, we started an entertainment production company, just providing entertainment, bringing people together, throwing parties on campus, and that grew into Heartland Hip Hop. And Heartland Hip Hop, me and my partner, Brandon Dick, shout out to B Diddy Dollar down in Atlanta. We provided entertainment. We had mixes, we had merchandise, artist showcases. We was dropping tracks. We had an online radio show every Tuesday back in 2011, 2012, the Heartland Radio Show. So for me, it's always been about creating culture, giving people information that they need to change their lives, helping people understand themselves. Because honestly, what I firmly believe in is that knowledge itself is the most important knowledge. And if we're consuming culture, let it be a culture that teaches us more so about ourselves. And so that led me to that was business for me. And so I acquired Go Matcha Go, my green tea company. I was bringing in 20 kilos of green tea powder from South Korea and Japan, breaking it down into 30 and 80 gram bags and selling it through, like I said, 7 different sales channels. And in doing that, I realized that all this work that I'm doing, if I could just focus on the marketing and education, that would push the product. And so I put myself on a quest back in 2013 to raise capital to automate my supply chain, meaning that I wanted my product to go straight from the plantation in Asia to the packaging plant to the warehouse to the end client, based off of a button being pressed while I'm just marketing and educating. But then, and looking to raise that capital, this was back in 2013. There's no PPP. Ain't nobody about to give me no loan.
True.
I'm not getting any grants for that. And so what's the best way? I could flip cars, police room auctions, or I could flip some houses. So I was one of my homeboys was a realtor, and that's all I knew. He was a realtor. But turns out my homeboy Jules Masale out of Columbus, Ohio, his grandmother is Mary Lane, and his grandmother was a black woman who got her real estate license back in 1963. And so he told me straight up, Rob, for what you're trying to do, you're better off getting your real estate license, because when you get your real estate license, anybody becomes a potential client versus you scraping the bottom of the barrel trying to wholesale properties.
Right.
It's a lot of people out there that still succumbing to wholesalers. It's sad, but
He taught you.
Yes, absolutely. I went to him to say, hey, bro, I get you 1%. As a realtor now, I would never work for 1% ever. But I went to him about 1%. But he really put me on. And him and his family changed my life, because his grandmother got his real estate license in 1963, real estate broker, a master appraiser in Ohio. She's in the Women's Hall of Fame in Ohio, Mary Lane, my first broker. His mother always did real estate. He not only did real estate, he's an international music producer and manager at this point. He has artists, the money making Molly's 3M, if you want to get on YouTube. They're traveling the world right now, and he manages them. So something that he told me is that real estate makes dreams come true, and that's I'm a living testament to what he told me back then. And I'm grateful for the people that came into my life. But before all of that, let's take it back to 2006. I was a student at the University of Toledo. We had rap sessions for the African American students, African American enrichment. We had a business.
Break down rap sessions, because rap meant one thing then, another thing now.
Yeah, well, it was rap. We talked about different topics, just surrounding our lives on campus as Black students. And one day we had a career day. I sat at the business table, and there was 2 Black real estate professionals. One was an investor. He owned a tanning salon. He owned other income producing assets. And then you had a realtor. And the realtor was telling me, he's like, this is like the best decision ever made. Being a Black man in this industry, we need it. Some of the easiest money. I love this. I wish I would have got my license 10 years ago. I'd be a millionaire by now. And that man is still practicing to this day. So shout out to Deion Davis over at Howard Hanna, man. That man, he was the first person to ever plant that seed of real estate in my mind back in 06. But it wasn't until 2013 when I took action to get my real estate license. In 2014, when I got my agent's license and moved back to Toledo to build my business here. I became a broker in 2017 to establish my own real estate organization here. And it's 2022. I've merged with an international brokerage, and now I have more reach. I have more resources and more tools to help expand this real estate organization and touch more people in the process.
I got to ask you, real estate, a little bit daunting. It's a little bit intimidating. Were you nervous about getting in, or because you had somebody to guide you that took some of the anxiety off of it?
Well, when you say real estate, it's like it can be daunting. It's like real estate, land, buildings. It seems like it's something so complicated, which It is. There's a lot of laws involved with real estate. There's a lot of paperwork involved. You know, you start talking about rights and property, and America was built based off of property, land. It's a lot to it, but you know, for me, I looked at it as an industry. It doesn't matter what industry you put me in, I'm going to be successful. You know,
Good attitude.
yeah, it's an industry ultimately for me. So, entertainment industry, I've been successful, and I still love the entertainment industry. Health and wellness industry of my green tea product, I had success. I broke ground with my health and wellness company in Central Ohio. But this real estate industry, no, no. For me, it was more so. This is an industry. Not only is it industry, I look at it from a psychological standpoint. We talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and Maslow was a psychologist that said before a person can focus on self fulfillment and living their dreams, they have basic needs that need to be met and certain priorities before they can focus on becoming that person that they were made to be and living their purpose. And the basic needs are food, water, and shelter. And so I've built businesses in other industries, right? But in real estate, it's a need. Everybody you come in contact with, somebody's getting paid off of them laying their head down at night. Everybody you come in contact with, somebody's paid from them going to school, being educated. Their kids got to go somewhere, somebody getting paid off of that real estate. You get sick, somebody getting paid off that real estate. You go to worship, somebody getting paid off that real estate. No matter what you do in life, there's real estate involved. So for me, it was an opportunity to establish myself in an industry that's never going away, that's recession proof, that potentially brings anybody I come into contact with, they're potentially a client, someone I can do business with. So for me, I was hungry. So no, I wasn't intimidated.
Now, you come out with your boys, and I like the way you give shout outs
Oh, yeah.
to cats that have crossed your path that you work with. Uh, has anyone found that intimidating to hang out with you? You know, say, no, man, I ain't even about that.
Nobody's ever told me to my face, but you know what they say? They say it's lonely at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I found myself, as far as my circle is concerned, I find my circle are the same people that I got close to and vibe with at earlier stages in my life. You know, and as life goes on, I find it harder and harder I won't say harder to relate to people, but I've learned to be very discerning about who I let in my space and let in my circle, because life has taught me that not everybody has good intentions for me. And so, I mean, that just comes with the territory. You know, when you're moving forward in life, when you're pushing through, when you're breaking barriers, you're innovating. There will be people that will be intimidated, but at the end of the day, it's not about them. You know, for me, because I'm living a mission, I'm living a vision that's been given to me by the divine, the Most High, and so it ain't about people. You know, because the people that I serve, they come to me. The people that I serve, they're not intimidated by me, and the people that are for me, they're not intimidated. They're right here with me. Not only are they right here with me, they're asking how they can help, how they can pick up a shovel and help with this build that we're doing here. So I don't get concerned about who's intimidated, you know, because for me it's bigger. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than me. And so I just keep moving nonetheless.
Now, I always tell people that there's certain people that you need in your life. You need a doctor, you need an attorney, you need a banker, you need a good mechanic. You know, have you built up that network? Have you found those people in your life? Because it can be a distraction. Car breaks down.
Man.
How do you get to your appointments? How do you get to your meetings?
Right.
Everybody during COVID was worried about getting sick.
Yep.
Not necessarily COVID, just where if someone coughed around you, it changed how you conducted yourself in an environment, where you would go, who you would be around.
Yep.
Have you built up that platform? Are you comfortable with who you are? Are you still putting people in place?
Well, I'll tell you what, one of the beautiful things about Toledo, Ohio is that, you know, it's a mid-major city. It's not a small city by any means. It's bigger than most cities in America, but it still has
6 in Ohio.
Yeah, it still has that small city feel. And so I would say that as far as my relationships, I have the people. I have the people that I need. I know who to call. At this point, I've been back in Toledo since 2014, so I'm 8 years in. I know who to call when something needs to be done, especially as being a real estate broker. I know who to call, but um, there's always more. There's never enough. Relationships are everything. No man is built to live on an island. So with that being said, it's important that we continue to cultivate relationships with people who are positive, who are productive, who align with our mission and our goals, because you never know who you need to call on. But shoot, let a car break down. My insurance guy, shout out to Steve Darrington, shout out to Steve, my car insurance guy. Something go wrong, man. Hey, American Family's right there, so
You got everything covered.
yeah.
Now, when you're dealing with business in Toledo,
hmm
and you're not just in Toledo, you're throughout the state of Ohio and what you're doing. Is that correct?
Even beyond. Yeah, I mean, I have agents on the ground in Columbus, Ohio, and Akron, Ohio. But beyond that, I have a network where I refer business to people nationally. Where I'm a realtist. I'm a realtor. You know what a realtor is, but as a realtist, I'm a member of the largest and oldest Black trade association in the country of Black real estate professionals. And with that being said, if somebody want to make something happen in California, Texas, Utah, Florida, New York, Georgia, I have people that I know personally on the ground that will take care of them at a very high level.
Well, where I was going with that, and that kind of supports what I was seeing, because you're able to give people information based upon what is beyond this environment.
Yep.
You're able to see what's happening in other areas and say, we need to try that back where I'm at,
Yep.
or no, we can't bring that up in here because it won't work. What do you see as the challenges for African Americans who want to go into business? And I know you had to leap over some walls yourself.
Yeah.
But there are still some things that exist that intimidate people.
Well, business, we're not just talking about real estate, we're talking business in general.
Business in general.
Well, first and foremost, it's a mindset thing. It's a mindset thing. I was blessed enough to have a father that was an entrepreneur. He did different businesses. He worked with different network marketing companies, and he had the mindset, and he transferred that to me. But I think the biggest challenge for most people is the shift in mindset from being a consumer to being a producer. Because you got two types of people. You got consumers and you got producers. And don't get it twisted. I'm a consumer, but my lifestyle is supported by the level of production that I create. So I'm a producer as well. To be a producer means to create value. How are we creating value for the people around us, whether that's a service or a product? And so, putting our minds in a position of production, being a producer, if you never come from that mindset, that's something that's hard to achieve. That's the first and foremost, because anybody can be a quote unquote entrepreneur. Anybody can fill out a articles of incorporation or organization with the state of Ohio and get an LLC. But that don't mean nothing. That's just a certificate. I had one of my mentors back in college. He was in the entertainment production game. And one day I got my LLC and I said, hey, man, I got my LLC, blah, blah, blah. It's official. He's like, so, what's that mean? Like, what is that? What's that going to do for you? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Because at the end of the day, it's not about, certain, yeah, you want to have your bases covered. You want to have your LLC, or you want to have your whatever your business structure is, because there's multiple business structures. You want to have that in order. You want to have your EIN because you want to be able to take checks in your business's name. You want to open up a bank account. People do that and they're just shell companies, but ultimately to be an entrepreneur and survive as a business, you have to produce. And that means picking a service or a product that creates solutions for people that have issues. And so what I see from a lot of people of color, Black people specifically, people do what they know. And so if you see people doing, a lot of us, specifically in Toledo, we tend to latch on to ideas that we see other people successful with, which you can't knock it, because life is, how can you aspire to be something that you've never seen? But the thing is, what I think more Black entrepreneurs should do is focus on industries, products and services that are essential. You know, there's a lot of people that's got t-shirts. It's a lot of people that do hair, that do nails. There's a lot of estheticians, and no knock to them because those people are making a lot of money doing that. A lot of them are, but a lot of them aren't. But we need more Black people in financial services. We need more Black insurance people. We need more Black realtors. Um, we need more Black financial advisors. We need people in industries that are essential. We need more Black grocery stores. Where the Black grocery stores in Toledo at? All right. And then where the Black? We need more Black doctors. We need more Black lawyers. We need more Black people in things that are essential. So it's nothing wrong with starting a business in the industry that's just going to make you some money right now. But if you want to build a life and a legacy, being an entrepreneur, you need to build a life and a legacy based off of something that's essential, something that's recession proof, something that no matter what's going on in life, people are still going to pay for it.
If you're just tuning in, we're speaking with Rob Pasco, who is the team leader. He's the
associate broker, team leader, Pasco Team Elite, EXP Realty.
I like the way you break that down. And how do people get in touch with you if they want to find out more about just you and
period? Hey, Google me, Rob Pasker, ROBPASKER. That's the best way. Instagram, Rob Pasker. Facebook, Rob Pasker. TikTok, Rob Pasker. Twitter, Rob Pasker. Real easy. But if you want to call, you want to get on my calendar, go to the link in my bios on any of those, or you can call 419-936-3992.
Does a person, in order to get involved with your organization, need to already be a realtor, or is there training and is there a guide that they can get?
Here's the deal. So you say organization, man, it's really deep because I'm a realtist. I'm the president of the Greater Toledo Realtist Association, and we're an association of real estate professionals that are passionate about building Black wealth in Northwest Ohio. I serve at the national level as a director at large, and I serve at the state level as first vice president. And like I said, we're professionals that are passionate. So whether you're a realtor, lender, contractor, appraiser, no matter what, if you're passionate about building Black wealth, come on with it. But if it's about you making money in this industry, yeah, get your real estate license. And guess what? You know, we offer discounts, 20% off discounts at Hondros College for people that want to, you know, get their real estate licenses.
So you have all kinds of mechanisms to open up the doors. You got the key.
I'm the plug.
Have to have the desire.
That's it. You bring the wheel, I'm gonna show you the way. I'm the plug. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Just come with it and be consistent.
Rob, dealing with banks.
Yep.
Black man, you got the dreads.
Yep.
You got the beard.
Uh-huh.
How was it dealing with the banks?
I don't have any issues because at the end of the day, you know, as a professional, it's like, listen, I have people that have issues. You have solutions for these people that have issues. So what's up? And luckily, by the grace of God, the people that I do work with in the industry, they have the same mindset as me, where it's like, we're just here to help people, you know? And so I haven't had any issues with any banks, but I've also been very selective about who I trust my clients with. And the people that I do trust my clients with, the lenders that I work with, we have an understanding as far as mindset, and there's an expectation as well. You know, and so when I refer a client to someone to a bank or anybody for that matter, I expect that person that I'm referring to uphold that level of professionalism and integrity that I would hold when you know, working with my own clients. And so, I mean, it's 2022. It is a different world, and you know, there's still prejudice out there, and there's still implicit bias out there. But I can say that by the grace of God, I can't say I haven't had any impediments, but you know, what I'm doing is bigger than me. And with that being said, the way is made for me as I push forward.
How were you able to navigate that racial bias that exists out here? Because oftentimes people don't want to give the impression that they don't want to deal with you.
Yeah.
So they do it passively.
Yep.
And you've been at this long enough to realize and recognize.
Yeah.
So how do you navigate the racial climate that's
It's
not
one
right.
of those things. I take it back, man. I take it way back, where I deal with those that want to deal with me. I've been in this business for 8 years. I've sold over 200 homes. I've counseled over 200 families. And I would say 90% of the people I've dealt with are Black people. Um, and I've had clients that were of all ethnicities: Asian, Hispanic, Arab, white, even. But I've just stood on my ground, stood firm on my ground, and put myself out there. And the people that support me tend to be people that look like me. And I think, you know, at the end of the day, it's just, I have a Black business. This is a Black business. And so people supporting my business, which is a Black business, I also, in my life, my personal life, I support Black businesses. So for me, people support me. The people that look like me support me. They have helped sustain me, my business, and my lifestyle. And that's what it's about. When you talk about, before there was integration, before integration, we had Black businesses, we had Black lawyers, we had Black doctors, we had Black grocery stores, we had Black movie theaters, we had everything Black. They used to have Black Giant on Door Street. We had a black grocery store in Toledo called Black Giant before they tore down Door Street. So, from what I'm doing, for me, this is timeless, because ultimately what I'm doing is I'm helping families establish wealth, which in fact is helping them establish their legacies. And I deal with the people that deal with me, and the people that deal with me tend to look like me. So I really haven't had to deal with too much implicit bias. Most of my clients, they qualify for down payment assistance and loans that are given out by community banks, and these community banks have people lending that look like me. um, and so maybe I'm blessed to say that I've been able to work in a silo, but at the same time, think about how much business is being left on the table because of the lack of support from other demographics. But I don't worry about that. I take care of those that trust in me, and it's gotten me this far, and that's what it's going to be as I continue to move forward.
Rob, you've been in the entertainment industry. You still got the tea business. Have you expanded that into other health products?
I had a very wise man. Had a very wise man when I moved back to Toledo. I was doing the tea. I was doing the real estate, and he's like, "Rob, why are you dealing with tea when you could be focused on real estate? Like, dude, what are you doing?" And since that day, the tea is still there. I still consume my matcha tea. I consume it nearly daily. But no, I've been more so focused on the real estate. It's still there when I'm ready to pick it up and build that supply chain. But I'm still focused on completing this real estate supply chain. And I'm very close. And once I establish that real estate supply chain, once that revenue is rolling in, then I can take that revenue and invest it into other industries and build up other systems.
Are you one of the youngest presidents of the Realtors?
Nationwide, yeah. I would believe so. Definitely one of the youngest. I'm one of the youngest real estate brokers in Northwest Ohio. I am the youngest person on the national board of directors for NARAB, and at the state level, definitely the youngest at the state level. Um, yeah, yeah.
I know it's National
Yeah,
Association of Realtors.
yeah, National Association of Real Estate Brokers. So people know realtors. Some people say realtors, but it's realtors. The realtors is a trade association. It's the largest trade association. But realtors didn't let Black men into their association
Or
until the
didn't?
early 70s.
Okay.
And so as Black people, we always had our own real estate trade association, which was called the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, which was founded in 1947 by 12 Black real estate brokers, 11 men and one woman from all over the country. We got a couple from Michigan, got a couple from Ohio, Texas, Florida. It was a offshoot of Booker T. Washington's Negro Business League. So there's history here. And the motto and mission is to create democracy in housing. We helped write the Voting Rights Act in 1965. We helped write legislation for the Fair Housing Act in 1968. We helped create the Community Reinvestment Act in 1973. We helped create Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae. We helped create HUD. Um, So we've been historic in opening doors for the most marginalized people in America for history. And we are Realtist. The National Association of Realtors actually sued us in the 50s over our name Realtists for copyright infringement, and we won our case as Realtists. And so there's a lot of history here, and like I said, we are primarily a Black trade association, though it's very diverse. But we are a predominantly Black trade association, and we're pushing to open doors for our people, fighting for democracy and housing. We are the premier network of Black real estate professionals in America, and also here in Northwest Ohio. We got some of the top producing Black real estate professionals, top producing Black lenders in our association here in Toledo. And, we're pushing to open doors, build our businesses, and also fight for policies that are going to open doors for the most marginalized here in America.
Did the last administration cause a hiccup in the progress that was being made?
It's one of those things. Like, I can't say they caused the hiccup, but the policies that were put in place during the Trump administration, they did close some of the doors that were opened up as far as fair housing was concerned. And so, it's one of those things. It's like there's the president, but then there's what the president represents and the people that he puts in place. And some of the people that he put in place were closing doors for fair housing. Specifically in California, some of the policies were not conducive to building Black wealth. And so we have a president now who has put people in place. Our national director of HUD is Marsha Fudge. She's a Black woman out of Cleveland. And, she is very tight with the realtors. And, there are policies being created. You're starting to see things right now that's been put in place for years, such as the, SPCP, the special purpose credit programs that you're seeing being announced by the Bank of America, or, legacy home loans that are specifically for Black people, or people that are purchasing in predominantly Black neighborhoods. So the policies have been put in place, and there are people in place right now. And so as Realtists, we have a window to help push to close this homeownership gap, because there's a homeownership gap between the demographics nationally and here in Northwest Ohio specifically, where to the point where, 72% of white households in Northwest Ohio own their homes versus 36% of Black households, or 41% of Latino households. And so, there's a lot that goes into closing that gap, but making sure that there's no systemic issues or systemic pressures that are stopping us from closing that gap, that's important.
Look, Rob, man, time has just moved on.
Wow.
I want to talk more about this history. Also, I want to talk more about your perspective from a consumer, and because you deal with a lot of people in this diverse audience.
Yep.
So, look, can I get you back next week? And
Man,
we can finish this
100%.
discussion?
Say less.
All right. If you're listening this morning, you've been listening to Rob Pasker, who he'll have to give you that title because this brother has done so much. I was comfortable with Rob Pasker real estate, but he's beyond that.
Man, it's grown.
It's grown. But look, we're going to have him back next week, and we ask that you would tune in. You've been listening to Urban Beat. I'm your host, Jerome Graham, and we thank our producer, Mr. Chris McClendon, and go on and make today a great day. Wow.
Good stuff.
Woo. Man, look, you got on a roll.
Well, you ask good questions.
That thing became something else.
Hey, man.
It's like, what is it, a runner who hits a stride?
Uh-huh.
You came around that track that second time, and you started picking it up. Look at it. 1965, 1968,
Hey, come on, man. Let's go.
1973.
It's history, man.
SPEC?
The SPC is Special Purpose Credit Programs. And these are programs that are specifically for people that's been marginalized by the government. Like Bank of America just said they had a program for Black people.
Yeah. And they named the cities. Unfortunately, there was no Bank of America here in Toledo.
There's no Bank of America here, but it's coming. But you got Legacy Home Loans, which is a national lender that offers a program that's very similar. It doesn't look at the credit score. Yep. And so yeah, man.
Can you
I'm
talk
not
about
new to this.
that
I'm
a
true
little
to this.
bit when we come back?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I wondered what was out there
Oh, that's a lot.
when I didn't see Bank of America here in this market.
There is no, not here.
I called a buddy of mine in Detroit. I said, you know what? It might be some money on the table for you.
Mm-hmm. No, it's there. It's experimental, but we can talk about it when we go live, man. Let's talk about it when we go live.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about it when we go live. Because I don't want to pop the bubble, deflate.
See, I think Sunday is the 2nd. I think. I'll have to do it this way. Yep, it's the 2nd.
You got to get a camera over here.
I'm on radio, man.
Well, you know,
I got a face for radio.
I heard that. But
I'm good. I stay behind everything.
The urban beat is key, man, because you're getting out good information to the people.
I try. Like I say, it's a challenge, and
because people are podcasts. This could be a whole podcast right now.
Well, prayerfully, I'll get to that point.
Tell them to buy you some cameras, man.
Well, what I want to do is I want to start with something simple. Get somebody, set up a web page, and do prayer on Monday. 1 minute prayer and motivation.
Yeah.
Evolve that into people going to the website. Not only do they get prayer, but they get conversation about what's bothering them, what's troubling them, dealing with social issues, health issues,
man, I got you. What you need to do is you do the prayers on TikTok, and then you go live on TikTok, and you can have 1-on-1s or 3 on whatever. You can do it, put the prayers on TikTok, and then people will join you live on TikTok to talk to you about whatever.
I don't understand.
Man, see, but you still hear.
What are you?
I'm 35.
I'm 63, man.
So
I gotta learn TikTok, because TikTok for me is to watch. That's what you watch.
Well, hey man, what they say, nothing is new underneath the sun. TikTok though, for what your goals are, TikTok is a great platform, and you're never too young, you're never too old to learn. And actually, you'd be surprised at who your message resonates with.
I paid for a class, I think 2. And I never finished either one of those classes because I got so busy.
That's how they get you. They get your money right there.
Yeah, so I said, I ain't signing up until I can finish the race next year. But that was just so I could learn these platforms, because I don't know them.
Wow.
But we'll get it done. See, with something that
Yeah, TikTok can do it, man. And you go live. I mean, you do a video a day with a minute prayer, and you go live. People will pop in. Your following will grow, because TikTok, it's random, right? It's not only is it random, but it has an algorithm. So if other people are liking stuff of that nature, they'll be more likely to put you in front of them, and your following will grow. I've had not just great success on TikTok, but also Instagram, Facebook. You'd be surprised at how far your videos go once you put them out there.
Now,
and then people can pay you on TikTok too.
Oh,
they can donate to you.
We talking now.
Yeah, talking about gifts. They gift and donate. And
I
just seen pastors on TikTok.
We're gonna do TikTok and evolve that thing, because I have this platform as well.
Yeah, man.
And I was actually gonna call a young lady in Detroit and tell her, look, I got this. What can I do to make my brand significant? Because that's what she does.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm tripping and fumbling right here. So when I get ready to retire, I want to trip into something that's going to carry me on.
Yeah, man. Well, you're already with the media. Why not build on that?
Yeah. Let me know when you're ready.
Oh, I'm ready whenever you are.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, good morning and welcome to Urban Beat. Last week we were speaking with Rob Pasker, and off air we were talking, and he just had so much information on top of what I asked him to come back and talk about this week. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue that conversation because this young man, in your mid 30s,
Mid 30s.
he's in his mid 30s and he's dropping knowledge like someone who's already in their 70s. So imagine where he's going to be. If you can just get a moment to sit down with you have some events coming up too, right?
I most definitely do. Got a full slate of in-person and hybrid events for the people.
Oh, we definitely want to talk about that. So as we get closer towards the end, please, let's talk about where people can come out and meet you and hear in person what you're talking about over the air.
Absolutely.
Now, last week you spoke about special programs, SPC.
SPC speed. SPCP, Special Purpose Credit Programs.
Okay. What are those again?
So here's the deal. Special Purpose Credit Programs it's a national program to help, what can I say, to help bridge the gap from the issues that came from some of the government policies of past. So you had deed restrictions during the 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s. The government was giving money to developers, FHA, the Federal Housing Administration, giving money to developers to create our suburbs, but they were telling these developers, in your deed, you need to put that these properties cannot be sold to Black people. Okay, so my grandfather, who's working for the railroad, the same job as a white man, this white man can go buy a house in the suburbs with the salary that he's getting, but my grandfather can't take the same salary and go buy a house in the suburbs. But then beyond that, they blocked off our neighborhoods. There's maps.
That's redlining. Right?
Redlining. I have the map of Toledo's redlining map. I have it. They literally blocked off our neighborhoods, and banks said that they would not give money in our neighborhoods. These are the neighborhoods. They put the red line around our neighborhood. They had different colors: blue, yellow, green, but red was the one that they weren't giving money in. So these are national policies that were impediments to Black home ownership in the past, which have grown and grown because we live in a society right now where 72% of white households in Northwest Ohio own their homes, while 36% of Black households own their homes. And that home ownership gap equates to a wealth gap because take away the top 10% of wealthy Americans, over 60% of the wealth in America, the net worth of families come from owner-occupied properties. And so generationally, we've been boxed out the home ownership game. And with that being said, there's some retribution taking place with the policies that have been created, like the Special Purpose Credit Program, which is a program that says that banks have the right and freedom to create programs specifically for people who have been marginalized by government policy. And so you see like Bank of America just dropped a program for Black homeowners or people that are purchasing in Black neighborhoods. Legacy Home Loans is a company that just released a program for Black Americans where there's no credit check. They're giving loans, no credit check, no down payment, no closing costs. And so there's a lot that goes into that because there have been arguments that that's against the Fair Housing Act of 1968. There's been arguments that that's against the Equal Credit Opportunity Act. But there's been memorandums from the Federal Housing Administration and HUD saying that creating programs specifically for people who have been marginalized does not violate the Fair Housing Act. And these memorandums just came out at the end of 2021. So this is a relatively new program, and I am looking forward to more organizations, banks specifically, going forth and creating these programs. But I do want to let people know, despite this program, before SPCP, I've been helping families. I've helped hundreds of families in the property with little to nothing down because of the down payment assistance programs that are out there right now. Community Reinvestment Act. There's a couple banks in Toledo that offer you 0 down loans, no down payment, no private mortgage insurance, and it's conventional. So you don't have to worry about a government inspection with these loans. So for someone who wants to become a homeowner, it's not about necessarily like the SPCP, because people have been using programs for little to nothing down. The city of Toledo has a program where they'll give you a grant up to 9,500 if you meet the income requirements. And so, for someone that wants to become a homeowner, where there's a will, there's a way. Affordability is dwindling, though. Properties becoming more expensive with interest rates rising, with appreciation. Some people say inflation. But I'm a firm believer that where there's a will, there's a way in achieving home ownership.
Well, now you mentioned inflation, and that does cause interest rates to go up. It does minimize the amount of properties that are available for purchases. Can one access a program to help get around that, or is there something out there that, matter of fact, let me put it this way. How do you determine if you are home ownership ready, or if you should just wait until the interest rates start to come down?
Okay, here's the deal with that. Interest rates are up. It's 2022. I got into the business in 2014. I've seen interest rates as low as 2.5, 2.3. The Federal Reserve, just raised interest rates. Interest rates are touching 7% right now. So yes, interest rates are up, but historically speaking, they're still not high, historically speaking. The issue, what happens with interest rates, for people that aren't familiar, when you have a house note, your mortgage, you're not just paying for the house, you're paying the principal of the loan, you're paying for the money that you're borrowing, you're going to pay that back. Then you're going to pay interest, which is the cost of using that money. You're going to pay insurance, and you're going to pay your taxes with that mortgage payment, that house note. So the more interest you have to pay means that's less principal that you can pay per dollar. So that means less house. So the higher interest rates go, that means that there's less house that you can afford because you got to pay more interest. And so, interest rates are up, and it is a problem. You asked if there's programs. There are a couple of programs that are relatively new. I won't even speak on their names, but there are a couple of programs that you can write into your purchase agreement where if you're putting an offer on a property, the seller can pay up to $10,000 to help buy down some of the interest rate, at least for the first couple of years. And then after that, interest rates may drop. But what I'll tell you this is what I tell my home buyers. The best time to buy a house is when you can buy a house, when you have the credit, when you have the income, when your debt is low enough. In that window, establish home ownership, because home ownership is going to put you in a position to build equity, benefit from appreciation. When you have a 30-year fixed mortgage, your principal and interest payment never rise, while everybody else is scrambling because rent is increasing 12, 15% per year. You're going to have the same payment today that you're going to have in 20 years. So homeownership helps hedge against inflation. And then also tax advantages. Outside of being a business owner, there are no greater tax advantages that come with being a homeowner. So the best time to buy is when you can, despite interest rates. I tell people, you marry the house because you love this house. This house won't be available next year. It won't be available in 2 or 3 years. You buy the house now. You date the rate. When rates go down, you can always refinance and get a lower interest rate.
Right.
So marry the house, date the rate.
I talk about going from 2% to 5, 7%. My first house, the interest rate, I believe, was at 14%.
Exactly.
And I got excited when I could get it down to 10.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. We're spoiled. People are like, oh my God, interest rates are up, but historically they're still low. Historically, they're not like 2-3%, but we won't see those again, maybe ever. It's like once in a lifetime. If you got
I'm sure someone else said that.
Yeah, well,
it showed up. So we keep hope alive.
We keep hope alive. But if you got in when I told y'all to get in, hey, y'all living real good right now.
Now, because of your contacts, do you have people in your arena of contacts that deal with credit repair, that can help people that need that before they make a purchase?
So here's the deal. My thoughts on credit repair. There are people out here that do have companies that offer credit repair services, but my thing is credit is rather simple. It's simple. If you understand credit, it's simple to alleviate. If you understand, it's like a game, honestly. If in any game, if you understand how to get points, if you understand how you can lose points, if you play the game right, your score is going to increase, right? And so it's like, why would you pay somebody to help you get a better credit score when you can just do it yourself? I've heard stories of people, oh, I spent $120 a month for them to work on my credit, and I did it for a year. Well, you could have paid off all your debt in that time, right? Or you could have negotiated settlements to close those accounts for all that money you just spent for some quote unquote credit repair. And so, no, I mean, I'm not a big proponent of it. Honestly, people can do it themselves. So as a HUD certified housing counselor and branch manager of NID Housing Counseling Agency, um, during my housing counseling sessions, I actually look at my clients' credit reports and tell them exactly and specifically what they need to do to build their credit score. And this is HUD certified, so that means that these services are free to the public. They just need to fill out their housing counseling application. But I look at their income, I look at their expenses, I look at their credit score, I look at their debt load, and I help them put together an itemized action plan, spelling out exactly what they need to do to build their credit score. And in fact, the second week in October, every second Wednesday, I'll be hosting a credit improvement workshop at the Frederick Douglass Center starting at 6 o'clock. And during that session, I'll be teaching about credit, understanding the 5 C's of credit, credit capacity, you know, talking about debt, talking about payment history, utilization, talking about how to get rid of items on your credit report. As far as letters are concerned, we're talking about the Fair Credit Reporting Act or the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act and how to utilize those laws to clear your credit score. So the information is out here. I'll put it out there for the people.
Now, every Wednesday, 6 o'clock, starting October when?
October 5th is the first Wednesday in October.
Starting October 5th. Is that going to be something that I can, after I get out of church, go look at YouTube and see, or can I go online and participate?
It'll be hybrid. So I'm actually going to host hybrid classes. So they'll be in person. You want the most value, come in person. But if you can't make it, that's okay, because you can hop on Zoom. If you register for the class, go to our website, nidlucascounty.com, or go to Eventbrite, look up NID Lucas County. You'll see our whole slate of schedule. You register. If you can't make it in person, come through Zoom, and the information will be the same, but the vibes won't.
All right. You give that website again on how to register with Eventbrite.
nidlucascounty.com. Or if you want to call in, call 419-504-5188. In our office, housing counseling office is based out of the Frederick Douglass Community Association, the Frederick Douglass Center.
So you go to Frederick Douglass and check in anytime and say, when is that course on real estate?
They'll tell you.
Yeah. Consumers. You've dealt with a lot of different consumers. Now, what has been some of your biggest challenges in trying to get people to the next level?
Ooh, man, it's this whole market is challenging. What are the biggest challenges in helping consumers get to the next level? What I've experienced recently, we have a housing shortage, meaning that inventory, we don't have enough houses for sale. And right at this point, it's beyond just a shortage. We have a housing crisis to the point where people are being priced out of affordable housing. People can't affordably achieve home ownership. And beyond that, people are finding themselves strapped to achieve even renting because of inflation. They gave so much money out during COVID that the dollar has inflated, and people are taking advantage of it right now. So rents have gone up, prices of homes have gone up. And so, I mean, honestly, that's the root issue of the real estate market is we have a lack of inventory. In a balanced real estate market, we have 6 months of inventory. So when I say 6 months of inventory, what does that mean? For instance, if they're in a given neighborhood, if there are 6 houses on the market, one house sells per month. That's 6 months of inventory. But what's happening, we have 2 months of inventory. So if one house is selling per month, there's only 2 houses to pick from on the market. And so when you have that low inventory and we have more foot traffic, we have more showings per listing, more people looking at properties than we have in the last 20 years. When you have this high demand and this low inventory, it creates a market that's hyper competitive. Last summer, we saw people come in $30,000, $40,000 over asking price. We saw 15, 20 offers on one property. Now, with the rise in interest rates, because interest rates have gone up, affordability has dwindled, meaning that, somebody that could afford a $200,000 house, when the interest rate was 5%, now that it's at 6.5%, they might only be able to afford a $160,000 house. So with the interest rates going up, affordability has dwindled. So, a lot of buyers, they're being priced out the market, unfortunately. But with that being said, I'm a firm believer where there's a will, there's a way. We can't control inventory. We can't, I had a conversation with Lieutenant Governor John Husted today. He was in Toledo and he met with Toledo community leaders. And one of the things that I brought up was the housing crisis and how the government should find some type of solution involving subsidies for developers. How can we find money to encourage developers to create single family homes to sell to first time home buyers, to create that inventory? We can't control that. That's something that'll be developed. But what we can control, especially as consumers, is our mindset. You've been watching HGTV. Your first time home, you might not get HGTV. Sorry, but the fact of the matter is, it's not about that. Maybe your second home will be HGTV after you live in it for 5 years. Like my last client, I sold her house in 2017. Sold her house for about 85,000. Okay, 80,000. It's 5 years later, 2022. They just sold their house, walking away with $50,000 that they use as a down payment on their next house, which is $350,000, right? So it's like you buy a home as an investment, establish that equity, because every time you make a payment, that's like putting money in the bank in a savings account. And not to mention, as time goes on, property values continue to increase. So over the course of time, you later 5, 7, 10 years, you'll walk away. Not even walk away, keep it. Use your house as a bank because you can tap into that with a home equity line of credit to start a business, to fund your children's education, whatever it may be. Or if you want to upgrade, sell that house, walk away with that bag and invest it as a down payment into the next house that's going to be your HGTV house.
Let me ask you, based upon that, now we're talking about single family buyers. Is this a good time for people who want to invest in properties, or should they wait a little bit?
Well, the best time to acquire, again, I go back, the best time to acquire property is when you can, because this marketing is not going anywhere. This is not 2008. There's no crash coming.
Sure?
There's no crash coming. You heard it here first on Mix 95.7 on the Urban Beat. There was no crash coming because there are very stark differences between 2022 and 2008. And so the crash of 2008 was spurred by reckless lending policies. People were getting home loans without even looking at pay stubs. People were getting home loans without credit checks. Anybody and everybody was getting loans back then. And you can look at charts that show, as far as credit score is concerned, what percentage of each credit score level received loans. And you had a large percentage of people that were getting loans with less than 600 credit scores. Right now, it's not impossible to buy a house with less than a 600, but you got to jump through a lot of hoops to buy a house with less than a 600 credit score. So there was a lot of irresponsible lending practices that led to people getting foreclosed on, subprime lending. The issue with today's market is that we don't have enough houses for sale. In 2008, in Northwest Ohio, we had 8,600 homes for sale. It's 2022, prices are up. we have only about 2,300 homes for sale. So again, there's an inventory issue. So how can there be a crash when we don't have enough properties for people to even say they don't want to buy? You know, I could see how can there be a crash even if we had half of our buyers back out of the market, we will still have a seller's market. It still wouldn't be balanced because we would only be at four months of inventory. So no, it's only gonna get worse and worse. So if you can purchase now, purchase now.
How does one go about, and you tell me if this is even realistic, how does one go about, and when I say realistic, I'm thinking any out how do you go about getting bankruptcies? Because it sounds like there might be some challenges for people. I don't know. I want to say the distant future. I was going to say the distant future.
Yeah.
Not based upon what's happening in the distant future. How do people get into, or is that even realistic? Am I just pie in the sky on looking at bankruptcies?
Well, bankruptcies are a real thing when it comes to acquiring property. Lenders have stipulations on bankruptcy. So at least, depending on the loan that you're going to try to get, you're going to have to wait 2 years, depending on the chapter of bankruptcy, whether it's 7 or 13. Some lenders make you wait 3 years, depending on the loan and chapter. Some lenders make you wait 4 years, depending on the loan, the type of loan that you're going to get in the chapter. But it's one of those things, if you're going through bankruptcy, just get it out the way. If you got
I'm not talking about the person.
Mhm.
I'm talking about somebody who might be looking for property, and I don't even know if they can find a list out there, or if that's. I don't even know if that's realistic. But if I'm looking for somebody who's going bankrupt, and I say, ooh, I'm gonna get that house.
Oh, that's terrible. Wait, hold on. You have people out here that take advantage of people in bad situations. Unfortunately, it's just the nature of the game. Um,
You see, and then I don't want to paint that type of picture,
mhm,
but banks don't want to be in the real estate business.
mhm.
And when they get a real estate want to get a property, and it may be as a result of someone who filed bankruptcy and doesn't want to reorganize their credit, that's an opportunity for somebody else because banks don't want to be in the real estate game,
Right,
as far as I know.
right. No, you got the right idea. So there are, bankruptcies happen, foreclosures happen. So what you're
Yes.
speaking of is foreclosure. It happens. Um, what we're seeing right now, as far as foreclosure is concerned, you have the sheriff sale. So here in Lucas County, the sheriff is going to host a sheriff sale every Wednesday at the courthouse steps. Sheriff sale. They start the auctions off at what 35% of what the tax value is. There's a lot of people that acquire property in that manner, but those are typically cash loans. It is what it is. Those are out there. There are people that wholesale properties. They find people, they look for certain indicators because when someone's going through foreclosure, there's list pendants, like there are notices that are sent out to these people, and these notices are public record. And so, wholesalers out there will look for these public records and come to these people or look for people who have properties who are not being taken care of. They will look for these people and say, hey, I'll buy your house, I'll do this, I'll do that. So, I mean, honestly, the opportunity is there, but as a housing counselor, as a branch manager, HUD certified, my goal is to help people keep their houses. And so I do offer counseling for people in regards to pre-foreclosure or loss mitigation, letting the people know what their options are if they're going through that process, if they're behind a handful of mortgage payments, or if they think they're going to become behind in mortgage payments. I have programming, I have education to let them know what they can do to negotiate with their loan servicers, how to keep their houses, and if they do have to get rid of their houses, how to do that and keep their money in their pocket.
So do people still, this is a term I heard about some time ago, and I just wonder if people still do it, short sale. Does that still take place?
I can't tell you the last time I did a short sale. It's been maybe since like 2017, 2018. I haven't done a short sale in a long time, and mainly because property values are up. People are getting more for their properties in Northwest Ohio than they've gotten ever. So a short sale, for those that don't know about a short sale is when someone is selling a house for less than what they owe their lender. So I take that back. I actually did a short sale last year. I had a young lady. She bought her house and she was only there for about a week or for about a year, and then she sold it. She was going through some things and she had to sell it, and I helped her negotiate a short sale. Not, a short sale is something that needs to be negotiated because banks want their money.
Yes.
But at the same time, if they know they're not about to get money from you, they might be willing to accept less in order to satisfy that debt. So they're less and less. Like right now, I don't have very many foreclosures for sale right now. But when I got started, there was a lot of foreclosures. So yeah, that's just how it goes. It's like, and another thing that we're seeing happen is we have a lot of institutional investors. These companies that are buying hundreds of houses at a time. And so it's Toledo. We have those, but not as bad as they have it down in like the Rust Belt down south. Um, Institutional investors are eating up the inventory. They're buying houses by hundreds, and it's really taking opportunities away from the citizens to become homeowners because they're purchasing affordable homes and they're renting them out, and they're not going to hit the market again for decades.
So they're not buying them as a property to resell. They're turning them into rental properties.
That's what's happening right now by the hundreds though. And that's one of the issues with our inventory as well. Aside from us not having enough houses built, we have institutional investors, hedge funds that are buying properties from the bank in these large numbers.
Well, now turnabout is fair place. So could somebody from this part of the country do that in the places where they're having all of these hurricanes and climatic situations? Uh,
I
I'm
mean,
not going to encourage anyone to do that.
well, who knows what's going to happen with property value? That's something I never really looked into. But property value after a hurricane happens. But I tell you what, those Floridians, they don't care about hurricanes. I have my realtor's family down there. They're just like, oh, I got my hurricane snacks. I'm gonna just chill out. They act like it's
They're
nothing.
going to ride it through.
But you got to realize they go through this every year. So but they're still like, for instance, down in New Orleans, they're still rebuilding from Katrina. And that was back in 2005. They're still rebuilding. There are parts of New Orleans that still haven't been rebuilt from Katrina. And so, I mean, whenever there's disaster, whenever there are issues, there are opportunities for those that are industrious and solution oriented.
Now, you're around 35.
Yes, sir.
What is a good age to introduce a young person into investing in real estate?
Well, I would say before they become an adult, that mindset to even think that I'm going to become a homeowner, that's important. You know, I was blessed to grow up in a household where my parents, they own their home. And I grew up in a neighborhood where my best friends, my boys, their parents own their homes. But that's not the story of most Black Toledoans, So, and I don't even think that's something that we never thought about. We never thought about, oh, our parents are homeowners, but the stability that we had, the fact that I was able to be born into a house, and my mom is still living in that house 35 years later, and my homeboys, we all grew up in the same houses we were born into and had relationships all of our lives. That's something that I might take for granted. But as being the children of homeowners, that's something that we were able to experience versus that are renters that have to move, and studies show that children of homeowners tend to do better in life, be more productive,
Oh,
have
okay.
higher education, have higher incomes versus those that are children of renters because of that stability. Um, so with that being said, as a realtist, the Greater Toledo Realtors Association, we have a youth entrepreneur program. And what we do is we go to different youth groups and talk to them about entrepreneurship, talk to them about real estate, talk to them about success. And we also educate them on the real estate industry because the real estate industry is bigger than just selling houses. You got so many players for every real estate transaction. There's going to be about 12 different people that get paid from one transaction, and the realtors might account for two of those. And so um, the big thing is letting children know, listen, this is why you want to become a homeowner, and this is how you can become a homeowner. And that's the biggest thing. People talk about I want to be rich and this and that, which is great. Get your money, but if nothing else, most Americans' wealth is invested in the homes that they live in. Most Americans' wealth come from them just paying their house note every month.
Okay.
Helps them acquire tens of thousands of dollars of wealth.
Yeah, it gives you respect as someone who's credit worthy, because there's a lot of power in being credit worthy.
I say it all the time. Cash is king, but credit is power. Credit is power. With credit, and what do I define power as? Power is the ability to change. And so cash is great, but credit allows you, puts you in a position to do things that you dream of, to create things that are beyond your means at the moment, and have an impact beyond what you have at the moment. So cash is king, but credit is power. It's a powerful thing.
Let's talk about power. How does one get in touch with Rob Pascal? And talk about your upcoming event at the Frederick Douglass.
Okay, how does one get in touch? All you gotta do is Google me. Google me. That's it. You Google me, you're gonna find my contact information. ROBPASKER. Um, your favorite social media, Rob Pasker. That's my handle. I keep it very simple. Okay, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. Rob Pasker. If you want to schedule a housing counseling session, go to one of my social media, click the link in bio. You'll see this. You'll see the link right there. Or you can visit nidlucascounty.com. I'm a real estate broker with eXp Realty. Me and my agents, we help people in the home ownership. We help them buy and sell. But as a housing counselor, branch manager, I'm having some programming coming up to educate the community. So with that being said, first Wednesday in October, we will be at the Frederick Douglass Center at 6 o'clock. It's going to be a Ask a Lender forum. We'll cover the various topics surrounding home ownership. Bring your questions. Okay. Second Wednesday at the Frederick Douglass Center, 6 p.m. We'll be having a credit improvement workshop. Come on with it. Come get this game, these gems. Third Wednesday, we'll be having a pre-lender assessment. We'll be going over a lender mortgage application. You'll fill it out and you'll figure out what holes you have in your application so that you know what you need to do to fill in those gaps. And then the fourth Wednesday, I'll be hosting a down payment assistance workshop where I'll be educating on the different down payment assistance programs that are available to us here in Northwest Ohio. And then that fourth Saturday, I'll be hosting the home buyer education workshop from 10 to 3 o'clock. You can come here, fulfill your hours, get this education. We'll be talking about fair housing, talking about rental, how to be a sufficient and efficient landlord and tenant. We'll be talking about the home buying process, mortgage language, how to maintain your property, credit, budgets. We're going to touch so many topics. When you get done with that and you do your one-on-one counseling session, you'll get your certificate so that you can get your down payment assistance that you may qualify for. So this is a HUD certified program. Clients that go through our programming, they do their counseling, they sit through the coursework, at least 5 to 6 hours of coursework. They get their certificates to make them eligible for down payments, such as the City of Toledo's down payment assistance program, to make themselves eligible for the CRA, Community Reinvestment Act loans that are zero down, no private mortgage insurance. We're putting people in position, and it's free. It's for the people at a historic community center in Northwest Ohio. Be there or be square. It's going down. There's no excuse. If you don't get it, if you don't get this game, there's no excuses.
If you missed that first Wednesday, you can still show up for the second Wednesday.
Come on.
And go on from there. Rob will work with you.
Come on with it.
He wants to help you. Rob, I thank you, man. It's been great. Great 2 weeks, man.
I appreciate you for bringing me on here. Anytime I get a chance to share this information with the people, it's an honor. So I appreciate you, brother.
During holiday season, because it gets rough trying to get a house during the holiday
Honestly, it
season.
might be the best time to buy a house because there's less people looking.
We'll talk. Thank you, Rob Pasco. And thank you for listening to Urban Beat. I'm your host, Jerome Graham. We thank our producer, Mr. Chris McClendon. And as always, go on to make today a great day.